stop letting people control you. Train your mind so nothing ever breaks you again. Let me ask you something. How many times this week did someone's words completely ruin your entire day? How many hours did you spend replaying a conversation that meant absolutely nothing? What if I told you that the most powerful men alive do not live like that, and in the next few minutes, I will show you exactly how they think and how you can too. 1. Mastering the nothing bothers me mindset. Life is full of noise, people's opinions, daily frustrations, unexpected setbacks. The world never stops throwing distractions, criticisms, and roadblocks directly in your path. But what if true strength actually comes from mastering the art of indifference? Imagine walking through a raging storm without flinching, without losing your composure even for a single second. That is exactly what it means to act as if nothing bothers you. The key is learning to detach your emotions from external circumstances. When you allow outside events to dictate your mood, you become a puppet controlled by forces far beyond your reach. But when you train your mind to remain unmoved, you become the true master of your destiny. The world deeply respects those who stay calm in chaos, who do not crumble under pressure. When you carry this mindset, you command authority without saying a single word. You move through life with power, with presence, and with unshakable confidence. Think about the most influential individuals throughout history. They were never the ones who reacted impulsively to every criticism or every minor slight. Instead, they moved with an air of quiet control, as if they understood something the rest of the world simply did not. Their strength was never in their ability to argue or fight back. It was entirely in their ability to remain completely unaffected. This is the true power of indifference. The most powerful lesson in all of success literature is this: thought precedes action. What you think you become. If you constantly react emotionally to everything around you, you give away your power completely. But if you cultivate an unwavering mindset, the world begins to bend to your will. Those who achieve great things understand this principle deeply. Control the mind, and you control your entire reality. Imagine a scenario where someone insults you in public. The natural response for most people is anger, retaliation, or self-defense. But what happens when you simply smile and walk away? You strip the instigator of all their power. They expected a reaction, and when they receive nothing, they are left completely unsettled. You, on the other hand, walk away stronger, untouched, and undefeated. This is the silent dominance that very few understand, but everyone admires. The same applies to failure and setbacks. When faced with rejection or defeat, most people surrender entirely to their emotions. They drown in frustration, losing days, weeks, or even years lamenting over what went wrong. But those who understand the power of indifference see failure as nothing more than data, a learning experience, an adjustment, a stepping stone. They do not internalize failure. They observe, they adapt, and they move forward. How do you cultivate this level of control? It begins with training your mind daily. Practice the habit of pausing before reacting. Ask yourself, does this situation truly affect my long-term goals? Is my reaction necessary, or am I simply giving away my power? By consistently choosing non-reaction, you build an armor that shields you from the trivialities of life. Another crucial element is visualization. See yourself as someone who moves through life completely unaffected. Picture a version of yourself who does not flinch at insults, who does not crumble under pressure. When you reinforce this image in your mind repeatedly, it becomes your reality. The mind is extraordinarily powerful, and what you repeatedly visualize, you eventually become. Let people wonder why you are never rattled. Let them question how you stay so composed. Because when you show the world that nothing bothers you, you control the entire game. You become an enigma, someone people look up to but can never quite figure out, and in that mystery lies your greatest strength. True power is not about domination or aggression. It is about presence. A presence so strong it does not need to prove itself. A presence that commands respect through silence and through an unshakable state of mind. Master this, and you master life. 2. To stay unshaken, think about the strongest people you know. They do not react impulsively. They do not react impulsively. They do not let emotions dictate their every action. They pause, they assess, and they respond with clear intention. This is not because they lack emotions. It is because they have learned to master them completely. Emotional detachment is not about suppressing your feelings. It is about controlling them. Picture this. You are in a heated argument, and the other person is desperately trying to provoke you. Do you react? Do you let their words take full control of your emotions? Or do you smile completely unaffected, knowing their words carry absolutely no weight unless you choose to give them power? Emotional detachment is about refusing to hand over your peace to external forces. It is about understanding that your inner world is sacred and untouchable. When you adopt this approach, stress decreases, clarity increases, and life's challenges become mere puzzles to solve rather than battles to fight. Consider the story of a man who lost everything. His business collapsed, his investments crumbled, and he was left with nothing. Most people would drown in despair, but not him. Instead, he saw the failure as a lesson, not a tragedy. He understood that his mind was his greatest asset, and no external loss could ever take that away. With this mindset, he rebuilt everything, stronger than before. This is the power of detachment. When you stop identifying with failures and setbacks, you free yourself completely to rise above them. A major reason people fail to achieve their goals is emotional turbulence. They let fear, doubt, and frustration control them entirely. They start with burning ambition but give up the moment challenges arrive. But those who master detachment understand that emotions are just fleeting sensations. They do not allow temporary feelings to derail long-term goals. They persist because they have trained their minds to see every obstacle as a stepping stone rather than a roadblock. Training yourself to be emotionally detached does not mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you no longer allow external forces to dictate your internal state. You can experience joy, sadness, and excitement, but you always remain in control. Your emotions serve you, not the other way around. To develop this mindset, practice stepping back in emotionally charged situations. The next time someone insults you, pause instead of reacting immediately. Observe your feelings. Ask yourself, does this affect my life in any meaningful way? More often than not, the honest answer is no. By choosing not to react, you permanently take away their power over you. Detachment also comes from having a clear and powerful purpose. When you have a strong vision driving you forward, petty distractions no longer shake you. Your focus becomes completely unbreakable because you understand that your energy is far too valuable to waste on things that do not serve your growth. The world belongs to those who master themselves. The more you cultivate emotional control, the more unstoppable you become. While others panic, you remain calm. While others react, you respond, and in doing so, you gain an advantage that very few people will ever possess. 3. Mindful indifference is a superpower. We are conditioned to believe we must care about everything: people's opinions, their validation, their judgments. Society teaches us that our worth is measured by how much we invest in the thoughts and expectations of others. But true freedom comes when you finally realize that most things simply do not matter. The next time you find yourself overthinking, ask yourself honestly, will this matter in 5 years? If not, let it go. Most of what troubles us, criticism, temporary setbacks, fleeting embarrassments, becomes completely insignificant with time. Yet we allow these things to consume our thoughts, dictate our emotions, and control our every action. This is precisely why mastering indifference is the key to reclaiming your power. Indifference does not mean apathy. It means prioritization. It means recognizing that your energy is finite and choosing to invest it only in what truly deserves your full focus. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every opinion is worth your consideration. When you stop reacting to every minor inconvenience, you fully regain control. You shift from being emotionally reactive to being strategically responsive, and that shift changes absolutely everything. Think of the people you admire most. They are not the ones desperately seeking approval or reacting emotionally to every challenge they face. They are the ones who stand firm, completely unshaken by the noise of the world. They know exactly who they are. And because of that deep self-knowledge, they cannot be easily manipulated or influenced by anyone. When you adopt this mindset, something remarkable begins to happen. People start to respect you far more, not because you seek their validation, but because they clearly see you as someone who simply cannot be moved. In a world where most people are desperately trying to fit in, to be liked, and to conform, the one who stands absolutely firm in their own self-worth holds the true power. Consider a scenario where someone criticizes you completely unfairly. The weak-minded immediately react, defending themselves, over-explaining or retaliating. The strong, however, remain perfectly calm. They understand that words only carry power if they choose to allow it. By not reacting, they maintain control, not just of the situation, but of themselves entirely. And that self-respect commands far more respect than any emotional outburst ever could. The same principle applies directly to success. Those who achieve greatness are never the ones who waste their precious energy on trivial concerns. They are laser-focused on their goals, refusing to be distracted by petty dramas or external judgments. They operate with absolute clarity, knowing that every moment spent worrying about irrelevant things is a moment stolen directly from their progress. So how do you cultivate this level of indifference? Start by honestly evaluating your reactions. The next time you feel anger, frustration, or anxiety rising over something minor, pause completely. Ask yourself sincerely, is this truly worth my energy? More often than not, the answer will be no. Train yourself to release what does not genuinely serve you. Another powerful practice is setting crystal clear priorities. Define what truly matters in your life, your purpose, your growth, your peace of mind. When you have a strong foundation of self-worth, the opinions and judgments of others completely lose their grip on you. You become untouchable, not because you do not care about anything, but because you care deeply about only the right things. This is the secret that most people never realize. True power lies not in seeking approval, but in being completely unmoved by rejection. It is found in the ability to walk away from what drains you, to rise above petty conflicts, and to remain laser-focused in a world overflowing with distraction. In the end, it is not about caring less. It is about caring wisely. It is about caring wisely. It is about choosing exactly where to direct your energy and absolutely refusing to waste it on what does not deserve your attention. Because when you master the art of indifference, you do not just survive. You thrive. Stop seeking approval. Seeking approval is a trap. It places your happiness entirely in the hands of others, making you completely dependent on their validation. The reality is this: no one's opinion of you should ever outweigh your own. The moment you give someone else the power to define your worth, you lose all control over your own life. True confidence is not given to you by others. It is built through self-reliance, through knowing deep in your core that you do not need anyone's permission to fully be yourself. Think about the most magnetic individuals you have ever encountered. They do not beg for approval. They do not shrink themselves just to fit in. They own who they are completely, flaws and all. And that is precisely what makes them so powerfully magnetic. The need for approval is rooted entirely in fear. Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of judgment, fear of standing completely alone. But here is the truth you must understand. The more you seek approval, the more you surrender your power. You become a prisoner of other people's expectations, constantly bending and twisting yourself to fit into molds designed by others. And in doing so, you betray yourself completely. Freedom comes the moment you release the desperate need to be liked by everyone. It is simply an illusion to think that universal approval is even remotely possible. No matter what you do, someone will always have something negative to say. Some will genuinely admire you, others will criticize you harshly, and many will not care at all. So why waste your precious energy trying to please everyone around you? Consider the people who have actually changed the world. Leaders, innovators, creators. They are not concerned with fitting in. They are driven entirely by vision, by purpose, by the fire burning within them. They face relentless criticism, yet they remain completely unfazed. Their confidence is built on something far stronger than public opinion. It is built on teak self-belief, and that is what makes them truly unstoppable. If you want to break free from the approval trap, start by asking yourself honestly whose opinion truly matters. More often than not, the loudest voices come from those who do not walk your path and do not understand your journey at all. Their words carry absolutely no real weight unless you choose to allow them to. Another crucial step is learning to validate yourself completely. Acknowledge your own progress daily. Celebrate your wins, big or small. When you start genuinely recognizing your own worth, external approval becomes entirely irrelevant. You no longer need anyone's applause to feel worthy. You simply know that you are. Detaching from validation does not mean becoming arrogant or dismissive of others. It means standing absolutely firm in who you are. It means respecting your own decisions, honoring your own journey, and refusing to let others dictate your path. It means understanding completely that your value is not something to be negotiated or debated by anyone. The moment you stop seeking validation is the precise moment you start living freely. You no longer filter your words, your actions, or your dreams through the lens of other people's expectations. You move through life with authenticity, with boldness, with a sense of purpose that simply cannot be shaken by anything or anyone. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will support you, and that is perfectly fine. The ones who truly matter will respect you, not because you desperately sought their approval, but precisely because you never needed it at all. So choose yourself. Stand absolutely firm in your beliefs, in your values, in your vision. Let go of the need for external validation and fully embrace the power of self-acceptance. Because once you genuinely do this, you become untouchable. Not because you have everyone's approval, but because you no longer require it. 5. Handle criticism. Criticism is completely inevitable, but how you handle it entirely defines your strength. Most people crumble at the very first sign of disapproval. They take every comment deeply to heart, allowing it to shape their self-identity, dictate their actions, and weaken their resolve. But why? Criticism is nothing more than words, opinions, and perspectives that often come from those who do not even begin to understand your journey. The reality is that criticism only carries as much power as you willingly give it. When you react emotionally, you let it fully control you. When you filter it through clear logic, you remain completely in control. The strongest individuals never let criticism shake them. They assess it with a calm and clear mind, take what is genuinely useful, and confidently discard the rest. No unnecessary emotion, no overreaction, just selective attention to what truly matters. There are two distinct types of criticism: constructive and destructive. Constructive criticism is genuinely valuable. It helps you improve and grow. It comes from people who have real experience, deep knowledge, and a sincere desire to see you succeed. This is the type of feedback you should always welcome openly. Destructive criticism, however, is specifically designed to break you down. It typically stems from jealousy, personal insecurity, or a fundamental lack of understanding. These opinions are completely meaningless unless you make the serious mistake of internalizing them. Imagine a skilled sculptor working on his masterpiece. As he works, people stop to observe. Some genuinely admire his craft, some offer helpful and thoughtful suggestions, and others openly mock his efforts. Does the sculptor abandon his vision because of a few negative voices? Absolutely not. He continues, guided entirely by his inner vision, expertly filtering out all the surrounding noise. This is precisely how you must approach criticism in your own life. When someone criticizes you, ask yourself directly, does this person have the genuine experience or credibility to judge what I am doing? If they do, carefully consider their words. If they clearly do not, simply move on. Not all voices deserve your precious attention. Most criticism comes from people who have never attempted what you are currently doing. Their words are direct reflections of their own personal limitations, not yours. Criticism is fundamentally a test of emotional resilience. Weak-minded individuals react impulsively. They get immediately defensive, argue aggressively, or retreat deep into self-doubt. The strong remain completely unmoved. They acknowledge criticism, carefully process it, but never allow it to disturb their inner peace. When you respond to criticism with calm indifference, you demonstrate to the entire world that your confidence is truly unshakable. Consider the great minds throughout all of history. Visionaries, creators, and leaders. Every single one of them faced relentless criticism. Their ideas were constantly doubted, their decisions endlessly questioned, yet they pressed steadily forward, absolutely refusing to let outside noise deter them from their path. Their ability to stand completely firm in the face of doubt is precisely what set them apart from everyone else. They understood deeply that criticism is simply the natural price of meaningful progress. If you want to develop this powerful mindset, practice genuine detachment. The next time someone criticizes you, pause completely. Do not react immediately. Instead, carefully analyze their words. Is there real value in what they are saying? If yes, learn from it thoughtfully. If no, dismiss it entirely without a second thought. When you truly master this habit, you permanently free yourself from the heavy emotional burden of seeking approval from others. Another powerful approach is deep self-conviction. When you genuinely believe in your own path and purpose, external opinions completely lose their grip on you. Confidence flows from within, never from the approval or disapproval of others. The moment you fully realize this fundamental truth, you become completely immune to shallow and meaningless criticism. The world will always have something to say. Some will praise you warmly, others will doubt you constantly. But in the end, the only opinion that truly matters in any meaningful way is your very own. True power lies in the ability to hear criticism, evaluate it rationally and calmly, and move forward without ever losing your focus. So the next time someone criticizes you, remember clearly, it is just noise. Learn from it if it is genuinely useful. But never, under any circumstances, allow it to define who you are. 6. Keep your composure under pressure. Pressure reveals people completely. Some break under it, some fold entirely. But the strong, they remain absolutely unshaken. This is because they prepare their minds thoroughly before the storm ever arrives. They understand deeply that pressure is not some rare anomaly. It is a certainty of life. And when you genuinely expect challenges, you completely stop being surprised by them. The real secret is learning to detach from the desperate need for control. Understand this fundamental truth. Not everything will go according to your carefully laid plan. People will disappoint you. Obstacles will appear suddenly. Unexpected setbacks will come without warning. But you do not react emotionally to these realities. You respond with clear strategy and calm calculation. Most people crack completely under pressure because they persistently resist reality. They expect everything to be smooth, perfectly predictable, and entirely within their control. And when life proves otherwise, they panic immediately. They complain bitterly. They freeze completely. But those who have trained themselves to embrace uncertainty, they adapt quickly. They move with the chaos rather than desperately fighting against it. Think of a seasoned warrior entering battle. He does not go in expecting an easy and comfortable fight. He fully expects resistance, unexpected ambushes, and unforeseen threats at every turn. Yet he remains completely composed throughout, because he has already fully accepted the reality of conflict before it arrives. He does not waste a single drop of energy wishing for ease and comfort. Instead, he focuses entirely on precise and effective execution. You must adopt this exact same mindset in your own life. The world will absolutely test you. It will throw stress, failure, and deep doubt directly at you. But if you have properly trained yourself to be composed under pressure, absolutely nothing will shake you. While others scramble desperately in panic, you will move with quiet precision. You will not react impulsively. You will respond with clear and calculated intention. There is profound power in mastering control, not over external events which you cannot always influence, but over yourself, which you always can. When you no longer desperately need things to go perfectly according to plan, you become genuinely unstoppable. When you truly understand that pressure is completely inevitable in life, you stop fearing it entirely. Instead, you see it clearly for what it truly is, an extraordinary opportunity to refine your composure and demonstrate your strength. Think of the greatest leaders throughout history, the most absolutely unshakable individuals the world has ever known. They do not flinch in chaos. They do not crumble when everything goes wrong around them. Instead, they radiate calmness, certainty, and complete control in every situation. This is precisely what makes them stand apart from everyone else. People look at them and genuinely wonder how nothing ever seems to faze them, how they manage to stay so remarkably composed while everyone around them falls apart. It is because they have specifically trained their minds to expect difficulty at every turn. They have carefully rehearsed their responses long before any test ever arrives. They understand completely that uncontrolled emotions cloud all judgment, so they deliberately detach from unnecessary feelings and consistently prioritize clear logic over blind panic. In doing so, they maintain a permanent strategic advantage that most people will never possess in their entire lives. To build this level of deep control, start by fundamentally shifting your perspective on pressure itself. See it as an exciting game, a serious test of your personal discipline and mental strength. When faced with mounting stress, actively challenge yourself to remain completely composed. Observe your rising emotions without ever allowing them to dictate your actions. The more you practice this daily, the more completely natural and automatic it becomes. Another essential practice is thorough preparation. The strongest individuals never sit and wait for pressure to arrive before they prepare. They actively train for it long in advance. Mentally rehearse the most difficult worst-case scenarios you might face. Condition your mind to remain absolutely steady under extreme stress and uncertainty. When you consistently do this, nothing will ever catch you genuinely off guard. You become a clear-headed strategist rather than a helpless reactor. Most people go through their entire lives completely unprepared for adversity, relying entirely on blind hope rather than disciplined preparation. They expect things to naturally work in their favor, and when they inevitably do not, they completely collapse. But those who have properly trained their minds for adversity do not break, they do not fold, they remain standing tall, completely unaffected and unshaken, so the very next time pressure begins to build around you, remind yourself clearly, this is my moment, my personal test, my opportunity to demonstrate real control while others panic around you. You will breathe slowly and deliberately. While others react impulsively, you will calculate carefully and respond with precision. And when the storm finally passes completely, you will still be standing, untouched, unshaken, and absolutely unbreakable. 7. Letting go of what you cannot control. Suffering most often comes from deep attachment to specific outcomes, to rigid expectations, to things that are entirely outside of our control. We grip tightly to what we think should happen, to how we firmly believe life should unfold. And when reality does not align with our desires, we feel genuine and prolonged pain. But true mental strength lies entirely in learning to let go completely. Picture a powerful river flowing through the landscape. Water flows gracefully around every obstacle it encounters, never resisting, never fighting against what is in its path. It does not demand that rocks move out of its way. It does not stop flowing when it meets resistance. It simply adapts and continues forward. That is precisely how you must approach your own life. Some things will happen completely regardless of how intensely you stress over them. The job offer that never came through. The person who chose to walk away, the unexpected setback you never saw coming. You can either resist these realities and suffer needlessly, or you can adapt and move purposefully forward. The choice is always and entirely yours to make. Letting go is absolutely not about giving up on your goals or dreams. It is about intelligently shifting your focus to what you can genuinely control. Clinging desperately to specific expectations makes you emotionally fragile. It keeps you trapped in a suffocating cycle of frustration, endlessly replaying past events and questioning what could possibly have been different. But when you fully embrace the reality that some things are simply beyond your influence, you free yourself completely from unnecessary and prolonged suffering. Think of the strongest people you have ever known. They are never the ones who fight desperately against the inevitable. They are the ones who remain remarkably calm when facing genuine uncertainty. They have mastered deep detachment, not from life itself, but from the dangerous illusion of total control. They understand clearly that life is fundamentally unpredictable, and that real and lasting peace comes from flowing with life, not desperately fighting against it at every turn. Most people spend enormous amounts of their precious energy trying to force specific outcomes. They attach their entire happiness to particular results. If things go exactly as planned, they feel temporarily satisfied. If not, they fall completely apart emotionally. This is an extremely weak way to live your life. True strength comes from being genuinely adaptable in every situation. When you honestly detach from rigid expectations, you develop a deep resilience that makes you truly unstoppable. No event, no disappointment, no setback can ever truly break you. The key to genuinely letting go is developing honest self-awareness. The next time you find yourself holding on far too tightly to something, whether it is a specific outcome, a particular person, or a rigid expectation, pause completely. Ask yourself directly and honestly, is this actually within my control? If the clear answer is no, release it fully and without hesitation. Do not waste your valuable energy on what you genuinely cannot change. Instead, redirect it entirely towards something that actually moves you meaningfully forward. Detachment is a genuine skill that requires consistent daily practice. Start with small things. Let go of minor everyday frustrations without reacting to them. The long line at the coffee shop, the slow and frustrating traffic, the unexpected change in your carefully made plans. Observe how genuinely freeing it feels to simply not react, to not allow external circumstances to dictate your emotional state. Over time, apply this same powerful mindset to your bigger life challenges and setbacks. Some may mistakenly confuse genuine detachment with cold indifference, but they are absolutely not the same thing. Indifference is pure apathy, a complete refusal to engage meaningfully with life. Detachment, on the other hand, is a deep and mature understanding that while you can and should participate fully in life, you do not have to be completely ruled by its inherent uncertainties. You can care passionately about your goals, your relationships, and your experiences. But you do not have to suffer deeply and prolonged when things inevitably do not go exactly as you expected. The moment you genuinely choose to let go of what you simply cannot control, you become truly untouchable in the deepest sense. You walk through life with a profound sense of inner peace that others openly admire, but cannot fully understand. While they are completely consumed by frustration and bitter disappointment, you remain perfectly steady and unshaken. They wonder, in genuine amazement, how you manage to do it. Why, absolutely nothing ever seems to disturb your remarkable composure. The truth is beautifully simple. You have mastered the liberating art of letting go. So stop resisting what is. Fully accept what comes. Adapt intelligently to what arrives. And above all, always remember this. The strongest minds do not cling desperately to anything. They flow freely like the river, moving steadily forward, completely untouched by every obstacle in their path. Silence is the ultimate power move. In a world completely obsessed with constant noise, silence is your most powerful weapon. Most people talk endlessly to fill empty space, to gain validation from others, to prove something about themselves. But the most genuinely powerful individuals do not speak unnecessarily. They listen carefully, they observe everything. They calculate deliberately, and when they finally choose to speak, every single word they say carries tremendous weight. Silence makes people deeply uncomfortable. It forces them to second-guess themselves, to analyze your thoughts and intentions, to wonder endlessly what you might be thinking. In any conversation, the person who speaks less consistently holds far more control. Words reveal everything about you, but silence conceals strategically. When you master the genuine art of silence, you shift power dynamics decisively in your favor. You gain real control over conversations, over complex situations, and over how people ultimately perceive you. Most people are genuinely uncomfortable with extended silence. They rush anxiously to fill it with unnecessary explanations, pointless justifications, and meaningless words. But when you deliberately hold back and stay quiet, you force others to reveal themselves completely. The more they speak without restraint, the more they speak without restraint, the more they expose their true thoughts, their deep insecurities, and their real intentions. Meanwhile, you remain a fascinating mystery, and in that mystery lies your greatest power. Imagine sitting in an important negotiation. The person across from you presents their offer and clearly expects an immediate enthusiastic response. But instead of reacting at all, you simply pause. You let the silence stretch out slowly between you. The longer you patiently wait, the more visibly unsettled they become. They start to second-guess their own offer. They begin filling the awkward silence with better terms, meaningful compromises, and increasing desperation. Why does this happen? Because silence creates powerful tension, and tension inevitably creates real leverage in your favor. The same fundamental principle applies perfectly in everyday interactions and relationships. The very next time someone insults you directly, simply stay completely silent. Most people naturally expect an immediate reaction, whether anger, defensive justification, or sharp retaliation. When you give them absolutely nothing in return, they lose all power over you instantly. They start wondering anxiously whether their words had any real effect at all. They begin feeling genuinely foolish for trying. Your complete silence forces them to sit alone with their own emotions rather than feeding off your reaction. Silence is also an extraordinarily powerful tool for deep observation. When you talk significantly less, you naturally notice far more about everything around you. You clearly see the subtle hesitation in someone's voice. You pick up the nervous shift in their posture. You catch the telling contradiction between their words and their actions. Most people completely miss these valuable cues because they are far too busy talking. But when you have truly mastered silence, you become a genuine strategist. You gather critical information while revealing absolutely nothing meaningful in return. There is a profound reason why the world's most influential figures are almost never the loudest voices in any room. They are the ones who choose every word they speak with extraordinary precision and care. They do not waste their valuable energy on meaningless chatter or idle conversation. They understand clearly that speaking less does not mean knowing less. On the contrary, it consistently means knowing far more than everyone else around them. If you genuinely want to cultivate real power through the strategic use of silence, start by consistently practicing deliberate restraint in your daily interactions. The very next time you are in any conversation, pause thoughtfully before speaking. Carefully observe the entire room around you. Listen far more than you talk. Let others reveal themselves to you first. The less you say overall, the more intently people will lean in and truly listen when you finally do speak. Another powerful way to harness silence strategically is to embrace it fully during moments of high emotional intensity. When you feel genuine anger rising, stay completely silent. When you are directly insulted by someone, stay silent. When someone aggressively demands an immediate response from you, deliberately delay it. The ability to completely control your speech during the most intense situations is the ultimate powerful demonstration of deep personal discipline. And discipline, consistently and powerfully, commands real respect from everyone who witnesses it. Truly powerful people are never reactive. They never allow their raw emotions to carelessly dictate their words. They understand completely that silence itself can be a profoundly powerful response, that a well-placed pause can communicate far more than any sentence ever could, that a single moment of deliberate quiet can fundamentally shift an entire interaction in your favor. So the very next time you're in any situation where someone clearly expects you to react immediately, choose not to. Stay completely silent instead. Let them wonder what you are thinking. Let them reveal themselves fully to you, and watch with quiet satisfaction as the power shifts unmistakably and permanently in your favor. In a world where everyone is desperately scrambling to be heard and noticed, the one who speaks the least most consistently holds the greatest influence. Master silence completely, and you master genuine control over everything. 9. Train yourself to stay calm no matter what. Your mind is your true battlefield. The thoughts you allow to enter and take root will ultimately determine whether you win or lose in life. Every doubt, every fear, every moment of hesitation, these are real enemies that must be deliberately and consistently conquered. The strongest individuals are never those who somehow never experience negative thoughts. They are those who simply refuse to be controlled by them. To build a truly unshakable mind, you must develop specific and powerful mental habits. Gratitude to consistently counter negativity, discipline to reliably override laziness, detachment to permanently eliminate unnecessary suffering. Just as the physical body grows measurably stronger through repeated resistance training, the mind becomes genuinely resilient through consistent and intentional daily training and conditioning. You cannot realistically expect mental toughness to appear miraculously in your moments of deepest crisis if you have not been actively conditioning yourself for it every single day. Every day, without exception, you must train yourself to remain completely unfazed by what happens around you, to pause deliberately before reacting to anything, to breathe deeply and calmly before responding to anyone. Most people are completely enslaved by their own emotions. They react impulsively to everything. They act out of irrational fear. They surrender completely to mounting frustration. But the ones who have learned to genuinely control their minds, they control absolutely everything that matters in their lives. This is how true warriors think. This is how real leaders consistently operate. They do not allow distractions, disappointments, or deliberate insults to shake them from their foundation. They move through life with a deep sense of purpose and a deeply rooted calm that others simply cannot comprehend. And because of this unshakable quality, they become truly and permanently unbreakable. Understand this fundamental truth clearly. Real mental strength is built in the small and seemingly insignificant everyday moments of your life. It is in waking up early when every part of you desperately wants to keep sleeping. It is in choosing to stay completely silent when you could easily argue and lash out. It is in pushing steadily forward when everything inside you is screaming to simply quit. The mind, exactly like a muscle, grows measurably stronger through consistent resistance. Every single challenge you face is a genuine opportunity to strengthen it further. One of the most powerful mental habits you can possibly develop is genuine emotional detachment. When you truly learn to separate yourself from your emotions, from specific outcomes, and from external chaos, you gain a decisive advantage over everyone who is still constantly reacting to the world around them. Detachment does not mean cold indifference to life and people. It means real and complete control over your responses. It means understanding deeply that while you cannot control the entire world around you, you can absolutely always control your personal response to it. Imagine a powerful storm rolling in. Most people get immediately caught up in the fierce winds, tossed around helplessly by uncontrollable circumstances, struggling desperately against forces they have no power over. But those with truly unshakable minds stand perfectly still and grounded. They let the storm pass completely around them without being moved. They do not waste a single drop of precious energy fighting what they cannot change. They wisely reserve their full strength for what truly matters most. Another absolutely crucial element of serious mental training is personal discipline. The mind will always naturally seek comfort, ease, and the path of least resistance whenever possible. This is precisely why the vast majority of people never achieve genuine mental toughness. They consistently give in to distractions, procrastination, and debilitating self-doubt. But consistent discipline fundamentally rewires the mind over time. When you repeatedly and consistently choose discipline over comfortable ease, you gradually reshape yourself into someone who is truly and completely unstoppable. Start small and build deliberately. Commit consistently to daily habits that actively reinforce your growing mental strength. Meditate regularly to sharpen your focus and quiet unnecessary mental noise. Exercise consistently to reinforce personal discipline and build physical and mental resilience. Read widely and deeply to continuously expand your mind and broaden your perspective. Keep every single promise you make to yourself, no matter how seemingly small or insignificant. Over time, these small, consistent acts accumulate into something profoundly powerful, a genuinely unshakable mind that nothing external can ever destabilize. The world will absolutely test you in every conceivable way. People will challenge you constantly. Life will throw unexpected obstacles directly in your path without warning or mercy, but the very moment you fully master your own mind, nothing external can ever truly shake you again. You will move through life with a level of authentic confidence, complete control, and quiet power that very few people ever achieve. And when others inevitably ask how you manage to remain so perfectly steady, so completely unbothered, so remarkably composed in every situation, you will know the answer with complete certainty. You trained deliberately for this. You built this strength intentionally, and absolutely nothing will ever take it from you. 10. Mastering the art of moving in silence. Real power moves in complete silence. It never seeks unnecessary attention. It does not need anyone's validation or recognition. It simply acts decisively and consistently, then lets the undeniable results speak entirely for themselves. The loudest people in any room are almost always the weakest ones present. They crave constant recognition. They announce their every intention to everyone around them. They desperately seek approval at every opportunity. But the truly strongest individuals move quietly, strategically, and with extraordinary precision. If you genuinely want to earn lasting respect, stop announcing your plans to everyone you meet. Stop explaining yourself unnecessarily to people who have not earned that insight into your life. Simply do the essential work. Simply make consistent and meaningful progress. Success is never built through impressive words and grand announcements. It is built entirely through persistent and disciplined action. The more you talk about what you plan to do, the more you needlessly invite scrutiny, doubt, and resistance from others. But when you work in deliberate and purposeful silence, absolutely no one sees you coming. And by the time they finally notice your progress, it is already far too late for them to stop it. The strongest individuals never waste their precious energy proving themselves to others. They let their success and their results do all the talking that is necessary. They do not argue with critics. They do not seek to impress skeptics. They do not over-explain their vision or their methods to those who question them. They simply move forward with absolute certainty and quiet purpose. And that deep certainty consistently commands genuine respect from everyone around them. The moment you completely stop looking for external validation from others, you immediately start becoming truly unstoppable in everything you pursue. There is a profound reason why the most genuinely influential figures throughout all of history were never the ones constantly and loudly talking about their next big move. They understood completely that real power lies not in making impressive promises, but entirely in consistent and relentless execution. They never wasted precious time explaining their vision to people who were simply not capable of understanding it. They simply built, created, and dominated their chosen field in complete and deliberate silence. Their results eventually spoke with a volume that no words could ever match. If you want to truly master this transformative approach, develop the iron discipline to keep your most important ambitions completely private. Work with absolute relentlessness and dedication, but do not seek recognition or applause from anyone. Let people wonder about your next move. Let them question how you stay so remarkably composed and focused. Let them speculate about your methods and your motives. The less they actually know about what you are doing, the more genuine control you maintain over your own journey and your own narrative. Silence is never passive or weak. It is profoundly strategic. It forces people around you to fill in the gaps with their own assumptions, to speculate freely, and to overthink endlessly. And in that persistent uncertainty, you gain real and lasting power over how others perceive and interact with you. When you do finally choose to speak, your carefully chosen words carry tremendous weight and authority. People listen with genuine attention, not because you demand it or seek it, but because they know deeply and instinctively that you never waste words. In a world where absolutely everyone is desperately trying to be noticed and recognized, be the one who genuinely does not seek recognition at all. While others frantically chase attention and validation, you chase mastery and genuine excellence. While they focus all their energy on appearing successful to others, you focus entirely on actually becoming successful in reality. This is the fundamental and decisive difference between those who spend their entire lives talking about doing great and meaningful things and those who actually go out and do them. If you feel the familiar urge to explain your plans to someone, firmly resist it. If you feel the need to prove yourself to your critics, deliberately hold back. If you want to show the world your genuine progress and capability, simply let your real and undeniable results do it completely and powerfully for you. The very moment you stop feeding your need for external validation and recognition, you will notice something truly remarkable beginning to happen. People will genuinely start paying far more attention to you. They will wonder, with real curiosity, how you achieved what you did. They will question in genuine amazement how nothing ever seems to bother or distract you from your path. And that is precisely when you will know with complete certainty that you have truly mastered the most important game of all, not because you told the world loudly and repeatedly what you were going to do, but because you showed it completely and powerfully without ever needing to say a single unnecessary word.